Good morning. My name is Chris, and I'm located in South Florida in Pompano Beach. And I launched a website called 400kfirst.com 2 weeks ago. And the premise of this website is that there are 400,000 kids that are born daily. The number is actually around 386,000. And this is every day, every 3 days, we've got 1.2 million kids. By the end of the week, it's 7 million. In a month, it's 12 million. In 2 months, it's 24 million kids. And what I'm trying to do is help parents that are having difficulties with some of their public schools that may be implementing CRT, but more specifically gender ideology terms that are away from the preferred gender that they want their kids, male or female, to grow up. So I want to show you quickly this up front here, and I apologize for my production ability, but what I've done here is we actually have a global counter, and I'm going to bring this up real close for you to see. And just if we take 10 seconds right now, I don't know if you can see this. I'll bring it even closer. You can see it's in the 5s. Now we're in the 60s and 70s. It's staggering how many births are born. So we're coming up on 10 seconds, and that's like 35,000 births that are born daily. And I apologize again for my production, but I just want to let you know. So the website is www.400kfirst.com. And we're first because we're the primary dominant sex. We're not trying to take anything away from the LGBT, but we're saying that biologically, boys and girls are born male or female. And we understand that the narratives, and there's a lot of contentiousness in the schools, we want to allow you to shift that focus to a biological number here. I kind of refer to this as a rubric. That it's a rubric of knowledge. And this knowledge is that 400,000 kids are born daily. And one of my questions here is, what is the stewardship that we're doing to protect these millions of kids born monthly? And I think that our schools are actually doing a really good job. I think we in America do a really good job. It's just right now we're sidetracked and distracted on some of this gender ideology. But the other big question I ask is, if you had a 4 to 17-year-old, would you want anyone else determining their sexual gender before age 17? Let me ask that again. If you had a 4 to 17-year-old, would you want anyone else determining their sexual gender before age 18? I'm going to ask you as a parent, I'm going to ask you as a grandparent, and I'm going to ask you as just an adult and a friend. And I think the answer is a resounding no. And again, there may be people on the LGBT side that say no, that my kids have heterosexual chromosomes that are different. I'm not going to get into that right. I'm just going to show you right now what's going on in the world. And I believe the stewardship that's needed for these kids is much larger. And where we go with this is that if your kid, if they have friends or other parents or even board members, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this closer here, I'm going to suggest that instead of talking about the ideology, that you shift to the number that there's 400,000 kids born daily. And again, this is 1.2 every 3 days and 7 million. And we begin to focus to say, are we really being responsible adults for this population? And I think that once that question is asked, that not only will the student who may be considering a different gender or non-binary change, if we can get them in a very gentle way to look at this, they may understand that there's a little more significance and important for children that are growing up. And part of my thing, it's on my initiative blog here, is that we follow Philippians 2:3, which is we will do nothing out of selfishness or conceit. And that we follow a local adoption agency here called 4kids.us that basically we stop, they get involved with a lot of trafficking here in South Florida. But their leadership is basically to lead with affection, love, courage, and direction. And it's the same affection, love, courage, and direction that we want to do not only with students, with parents, we want to do it with teachers, we want to do it with staff personnel. That's clinical social workers, that could be nurses, that could be some of the staff who are really big proponents of the gender and allowing this to go on. We want them to take a look at some of these numbers in a very gentle way and say, listen, we just want you to take a look. What are we doing for this next group of people being born here that may come into our schools? Are our schools safe enough right now so that they can do teaching and not get too sidetracked in gender identification? And if we look at this as a rubric of information, it's really astounding. And again, my jaw drops when I look at these numbers. It's staggering. It's a lot, and it makes me adult myself up that I need to pay attention, and I need to be redirecting myself a little bit towards service. And that's why I've done this. I have brothers and sisters that are involved in teaching. 2 are retired, 1's still teaching. And then we had the big incident this past weekend. Russell County in Virginia, they basically rejected what the Board of Education said, that they're going to implement certain gender terminology. This happened last month in Loudoun County, where they had both the CRT issue, which was shut down by the parents. So we've got 2 counties in a pretty large state. And we're going, we've still got 3 years off, or I'm sorry, a year off before the 2022 elections and 3 years off for 2024. But I really believe in the next 6 to 9 months, this is going to be a huge issue. And I'd like parents and teacher groups to have a place come and to rally around another component that we can look at of children. So we're not just talking about gender, but really people and so forth. And so as you parents get ready to send your kids back to school next month, and some of you may be going to board meetings, want to know that we have t-shirts available online for sale here. I'm wearing one now. I'm also going to have flags. I honestly think the best thing to do is to have about a half dozen people with some of these shirts, and whether it's in the schools or other things, that basically we're coming out and symbolizing what we are supporting. And it's just a much better way to sink our depth into kids that are born into the world. The real stewardship that we know, and providing the good instruction that they get in schools, but without leading them away and protecting them in the K-12 schools. I want to thank you for your time. I hope to get back in another week or 2. I think that there's going to be a lot of information, and I hope this information is for you and some of your parents. Again, the website is www.400kfirst.com. Thanks and have a good day.